Long before kings ruled Israel, before temples rose in Jerusalem, before prophets thundered warnings and promises, there lived a man whose life was marked by struggle. His name was Jacob, and his story is not one of instant faith or easy righteousness. It is the story of a man who spent his entire life wrestling with his brother, wrestling with his past, wrestling with fear, and finally, wrestling with God himself. This is the story of the night Jacob refused to let go. Jacob's story begins before he ever took his first breath. His parents were Isaac, the son of Abraham, the man God had promised would become a great nation, and Rebekah, a woman chosen by God to continue that promise. For many years, Rebekah was barren. Isaac prayed earnestly, and God answered. She conceived, but this was no ordinary pregnancy. The children inside her struggled violently, as though already at war. Troubled, Rebekah cried out to God, asking why this was happening. And God answered her with a prophecy. 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you shall be divided. One shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. When the time came for birth, the first child emerged red and hairy. He was named Esau. But as Esau came forth, the second child was born gripping his brother's heel, as if trying to pull him back, as if refusing to come second. This child was named Jacob, a name that means heel grabber, supplanter, or one who takes by the heel. From the very beginning, Jacob's life was defined by striving. As the boys grew into young men, their differences became impossible to ignore. Though they were twins, they could not have been more unlike one another in temperament, desire, or way of life. Esau emerged as a skilled hunter, a man of the open fields, strong in body, quick in action, and driven by instinct and impulse. He thrived in the wilderness, finding satisfaction in the thrill of the chase and the physical demands of his rugged life. Isaac, their father, favored Esau, drawn to his masculinity and to the savory wild game he so often brought home, meals that delighted Isaac's appetite and reinforced his affection. Jacob, by contrast, was quiet and contemplative, content to remain among the tents. He preferred the life of the household, observing, thinking, and planning rather than roaming the fields. Where Esau lived in the moment, Jacob looked ahead. Rebekah, their mother, favored Jacob, sensing in him a deeper sensitivity and purpose. That divided affection within the family, father toward one son, mother toward the other, quietly shaped events that would alter their family's destiny and ripple through generations. One day, after hours of hunting in the open fields, Esau returned home utterly exhausted and famished. His strength had failed him, and his hunger consumed his thoughts. At that moment, Jacob was preparing a pot of stew, its aroma filling the air. Overcome by his physical need, Esau begged his brother for food, caring little for anything beyond immediate relief. Jacob, ever watchful, recognized an opportunity. Calmly and deliberately, he proposed an exchange that would change their lives forever. "Sell me your birthright," he said. The birthright was far more than a matter of inheritance. It carried authority within the family, a double portion of the estate, and, most importantly, the sacred spiritual blessing passed down from Abraham, the promise of God's covenant and future favor. It was a legacy meant to be treasured, guarded, and honored. Yet Esau, ruled by appetite and impulse, treated it with contempt. "What good is a birthright to me if I am about to die of hunger?" he replied, valuing the satisfaction of the moment over the promise of the future. And so, for a single bowl of stew, Esau surrendered his birthright and the blessings tied to it. In that careless act, he traded destiny for comfort. Jacob obtained what he desired, but not through patience or trust in God's timing. Instead, he seized it through calculation and cunning, setting the stage for conflict, consequence, and the unfolding of a much larger divine plan. Years later, Isaac was old, his eyesight gone, and he was certain his time was nearly up. Thinking this would be his final act as a father, he decided it was time to bless Esau, the blessing that couldn't be taken back, the one that would name him the true heir. But Rebekah overheard the conversation, and she acted quickly. She came up with a plan and set it into motion right away. She dressed Jacob in Esau's clothes so he would smell like his brother, then wrapped goat skins around his arms and neck to imitate Esau's rough, hairy skin. When everything was ready, she sent Jacob into his father's tent with a meal, hoping the disguise would hold. Isaac was suspicious. He listened carefully and reached out to touch him. "The voice sounds like Jacob," he said slowly, "but the hands feel like Esau." Jacob's heart must have been pounding, but he lied anyway. "I am Esau, your firstborn," he said. And with that, Isaac spoke the blessing over him, the blessing of Abraham. He passed on promises of abundance, authority, and the covenant God had made with their family. Not long after, Esau returned. When he realized what had happened, he broke down in bitter tears. His sorrow quickly turned into fury. Enraged by the betrayal, he vowed to kill Jacob the moment he had the chance. So Jacob ran. He fled for his life, leaving his home behind, unaware of how long his journey would be, or how deeply it would change him. Jacob ran for his life, driven by fear and regret, leaving behind his family, his home, and everything that had ever felt safe or familiar. The tents of his childhood faded behind him as the open wilderness stretched out ahead. He was alone now, no mother to protect him, no father to bless him, no brother at his side. Night eventually fell, and with nowhere else to go, Jacob stopped in a desolate place, exposed to the cold and the silence. He lay down on the hard ground, using a stone as his pillow, and surrendered to sleep. And there, in that lonely and uncertain place, God met him. Jacob dreamed of a ladder reaching from the earth all the way to heaven, a bridge between the human and the divine. Angels moved up and down its length, ascending and descending, as though heaven itself was actively involved in the world below. Above the ladder stood the Lord, majestic and unshakable, and he spoke with authority and promise. "I am the Lord, the God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac," he declared. "The land on which you lie I will give to you and to your offspring. Your descendants will spread abroad, and through them all the families of the earth will be blessed. I am with you, and I will keep you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land." When Jacob awoke, his heart was pounding. Awe and fear filled him as he realized he had encountered the living God. "Surely the Lord is in this place," he whispered, shaken, "and I did not know it." The ordinary ground beneath him suddenly felt holy, charged with divine presence. Yet even in this moment of revelation, Jacob's faith remained cautious and conditional. Instead of responding with full trust, he responded with negotiation. "If God will be with me," he said, "and if he will keep me on this journey and provide for me and bring me back safely, then the Lord shall be my God." Jacob believed the promise, but he still held back. He trusted God enough to listen, but not yet enough to surrender. His faith had begun, but it was still learning how to let go. Jacob fled north to the land of his uncle Laban, seeking refuge from Esau's anger and a future he could not yet see. It was there, far from home, that Jacob first laid eyes on Laban's younger daughter, Rachel. From the moment he met her, he was captivated. Her beauty and gentleness drew him in, and for the first time, Jacob's heart was fully invested in something beyond his own advantage. Determined to marry her, Jacob willingly agreed to work for Laban for 7 long years. Those years were filled with hard labor, yet scripture says they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for Rachel. He believed that patience and faithfulness would finally bring him the joy he desired. But on the wedding night, Jacob learned what it felt like to be on the receiving end of deception. Under the cover of darkness, Laban betrayed him and gave him Leah, Rachel's older sister, instead. When morning came and the truth was revealed, Jacob was furious. The deceiver had been deceived, and the pain of betrayal cut deeply. Laban, unmoved by Jacob's anger, struck another bargain. He agreed to give Rachel to Jacob as well, but only if Jacob committed to 7 more years of labor. With no better option and still deeply in love, Jacob agreed. What he had once taken through cunning, he now paid for through endurance. For 20 years, Jacob labored under Laban's roof, enduring manipulation, broken promises, and relentless hardship. He married both Leah and Rachel, and through them, and through their servants, his family grew. Children were born, rivalries formed, and tensions filled the household. Jacob's wealth increased as well, but it came at great personal cost. Yet, beneath the struggle and conflict, something quieter was happening. God was at work, using those long years of labor and disappointment to reshape Jacob's character. The man who once relied on clever schemes was slowly learning patience, perseverance, and trust. And though Jacob may not have realized it at the time, God was steadily shaping him for the purpose that still lay ahead. Eventually, God told Jacob to return home. But home meant Esau, the brother he had cheated, the man he had wronged, the one who had sworn to kill him. Jacob learned that Esau was coming to meet him with 400 men. Fear seized his heart. Jacob divided his family into camps, sent gifts ahead to appease Esau, and prayed desperately. I am not worthy of the least of all the steadfast love and faithfulness you have shown your servant. Deliver me, please, from the hand of my brother. That night, Jacob sent his family across the river Jabbok, and Jacob was left alone. In the darkness, a man appeared. Without warning, he attacked Jacob. The two wrestled, gripping, straining, locked together in the dust. No words, no explanation, just struggle. They wrestled all night. Jacob, the lifelong struggler, met his match. As dawn approached, the man touched Jacob's hip, and instantly it was dislocated. The pain was unbearable. Jacob could no longer wrestle, but he could still cling. "Let me go," the man said, "for the day has broken." Jacob, broken and limping, refused. "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered, "the name of the deceiver, the heel grabber, the supplanter." Then the man spoke, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men, and have prevailed." Jacob asked, "Please tell me your name." But the man did not answer. Instead, he blessed him, and then he was gone. Jacob named the place Peniel, meaning the face of God, marking it as a sacred turning point in his life. "For I have seen God face to face," he said in awe, "and yet my life has been delivered." The words carried both wonder and disbelief. He had wrestled through the night, stood in the presence of the Holy One, and somehow lived to tell the story. As the sun rose over the horizon, its light fell on Jacob as he limped away from that place. Every step reminded him of the encounter. His body bore the mark of the struggle, and he would never walk the same again. But that limp was not a sign of defeat. It was a reminder of grace. He walked differently now, not just in body, but in spirit. He was wounded, but he was blessed, broken, but renamed, humbled, but transformed. The man who had once grasped heels and schemed for advantage now moved forward in dependence, no longer relying on his own strength alone. His limp told the story of surrender, of a night when striving gave way to blessing. When Jacob finally met Esau the next day, he approached him with humility, bowing low again and again, offering no demands, only repentance and peace. But before Jacob could speak, Esau ran to meet him. The brother Jacob had feared embraced him, wrapped his arms around him, and wept. Years of anger dissolved in a single moment of reconciliation. The struggle was over. Not because Jacob had won, but because he had finally learned how to let go. Jacob's wrestling match was never about physical strength or winning a contest. It was about surrender, about reaching the end of himself. God did not overpower Jacob in order to crush or destroy him. Instead, he touched him in a way that wounded him just enough to transform him. The injury was not punishment, but mercy, a divine interruption that forced Jacob to stop relying on his own strength. For most of his life, Jacob had survived by grasping and manipulating, by outthinking and outmaneuvering everyone around him. He had learned to scheme for advantage, to secure blessings through cleverness rather than trust. But on that long, dark night, God confronted Jacob with a deeper truth. Blessing does not come through deceit or control, but through dependence and surrender. The limp Jacob carried away from that encounter became a living reminder of what he had learned. It marked the moment his striving ended and his transformation began. Every step he took from that day forward carried the memory of that night. The night he stopped running from his past, stopped scheming for the future, and finally clung to God with empty hands. With nothing left to bargain with and no strength left to boast in, Jacob held on by faith alone. And in that surrender, he found the blessing he had been seeking all along. The story of Jacob is, in many ways, the story of us. Like him, we wrestle through long nights with fear of the past catching up to us, fear of what lies ahead, fear of losing control. We wrestle with guilt over choices we wish we could undo and words we wish we could take back. And often we wrestle with God's will itself, struggling to trust His timing, His ways, and His purposes when they don't align with our own. Yet, it is often in those very struggles that God does His deepest work. It is in the tension, the unanswered questions, and the moments when our strength runs out that God reshapes us. Sometimes the struggle is the place where God changes our name, not necessarily what we are called by others, but who we are at our core. Blessing does not always come when we feel strong, capable, or self-sufficient. More often, it comes when we are broken enough to cling, when pride gives way to humility and control gives way to trust. In those moments, faith becomes less about having all the answers and more about refusing to let go. And like Jacob, we may walk away bearing marks of the struggle. We may limp, carrying reminders of what we've endured and what we've surrendered. But we do not walk away empty-handed. We walk away changed. We walk away humbled. And above all, we walk away blessed.